Okay, so for um, this session, we will be discussing measures of central tendency. I know you have an idea of what mean, median, and modes are. So you have already encountered that when you were in high school or junior high, and uh, how can we use this measures of central tendency in business research and development? So when we say ungrouped data, pag ang ating um, mga uh, number of uh, people na ginamit natin sa ating survey ay mga around 50 to 100, it is still considered ungrouped data. But later on in statistics, meron kasing tinatawag na group data and ungrouped. Pag group data, maraming kasama sa survey. So there are mga 100 100 respondents or more. Okay, so so there is a quip here: add the numbers, divide by how many numbers you've added, and there you have it, the average amount of minutes you sleep in class each day. So this is actually the mean. If you're talking about the adding the total adding the number of items, and then you divide the number of items and you get the average or simply the mean. Ito yung karaniwan na kilala natin na pagkukuha ng central tendency, yung average. But the real term here is called the mean. Now, it is when we say measure of central tendency is an average, it is a single number of value which can be considered typical in a set of data as a whole. So one measure of central tendency is the average or mean, wherein, for example, now it depends upon the data that you are gathering. Now, there are different measure of central tendency that is appropriate for each type. Now, in this class, for example, average height. So to get the average height, it would be best to use the mean. So in a class of 40 students, to get the measure of central tendency, it's best to use the mean. Now, what is mean? The mean of a set of values or measurement is the sum of all the measurements divided by the number of measurements in the set. Okay, katulad na sinasabi ko, the mean or the average is actually the one you are very familiar with, and this is the one that we are using to get the average of your grades. Okay, so for example, you add your score in math, in Earth Sci, in Gen Math, in Business Math. You add everything, all your scores, final scores in the first quarter for each subject. You divide it by the number of subject and you get the mean. Or sometimes it is called the arithmetic mean. Okay, so meron din kasi tinatawag na geometric mean. So again, yung tinatawag na average, mean, and arithmetic mean, they are one. They refer to one thing. It's actually averaging, getting the average of a set of values. So if we compute the mean of the population, we call it the parametric or population mean, denoted by mu. Okay, and if we get the mean of the sample, we call it the sample mean, and it is denoted by x bar. Now, these are all statistical terms. I think this is not relevant as of the moment. This is the most important term, the arithmetic mean. Now, since we are dealing with ungrouped data, because you will be learning how to group data on your statistics later on, we will be dealing with ungrouped or raw data. So this is how you solve for the mean. So the summation of all the values of your scores or values. So suppose you have 10 values or 5 values na lang. So for example, meron kang scores. Let's call that, kunyari, 81, 85, 90, 92, 95. So those your scores, you have to sum it up. So or you add everything. If you see this symbol, it means summation. This symbol sigma means summation, or the sum of the measurements or of values. Now n is the number of values. So let's have an example to make it more clear. Now, so for example, a certain student collects the data on the ages of mathematics teachers in MCA IMUS. May matatanda dito, buti na lang wala ako dyan. Kasi 28 lang. Ay, 28. Okay, kasama pala ako rito. So, Miss Abe collects the data on the ages of mathematics teachers, and her study yields the following. So, ito yung mga age ng mga teachers. May 38, may 35, may 28, may 36, 35, 33, saka 40. So, ang sabi, summation of all the values. So, you have to add. You get the sum of all the values. After getting the sum, you divide it by the number of the values. Since 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 yung nasa ilalim. So the mean or arithmetic mean is 35. So as you can see, arithmetic mean, mean or average is just the same. Okay, so it's your turn. Your turn. Mang Lucky is a frozen chicken vendor. So the following are his sales for the past 6 days. So can anyone compute for the mean sales ni Mang Lucky? Gaano kaya kalaki ang mean sales ni Mang Lucky? Wow, pardon the pun. Can anyone answer that using your calculator? Yes, Miss Parisan, wait lang. Let me just prepare my recitation sheet. Wait lang. Wait. Okay, there you go. Okay, so let's start with, here you go. Okay, Miss Parisan, proceed.
8,516.67 po.
Okay, so let us look at the, tingnan ko nga kung meron siyang, okay, meron. So 8,516.67. So how do we do that? You just add everything divided by the number of sales. So that is 6. And you will get 8,516.67. Okay, so wait lang. There you go. Okay, next. So there is a weighted mean naman. Now, weighted mean, this is true in college. If or later on, we will be using the weighted mean for your survey, yung tinatawag na Likert type questions. Now, how does the weighted mean work? So the weighted mean is a set of values. However, meron siyang tinatawag na weights or number of meron siyang weight for each value. Ganun na lang. So I think this would be best. We can understand it best with an example. Now, for example, in an example that we can see here is yung mga scores sa subject. However, there is a weight or units. This is applicable in college scores. So sa mga college scores, meron tinatawag na units. Okay? Now, these units will be, it serves as a weight for that grade. Of course, the higher the unit, ibig sabihin, mas malaki yung weight niya o mas important siya kaysa sa ibang subject. Like for example, si Filipino is not as important in this example. Filipino is not that relevant to as that of science. Kasi 1.8 yung science, that means mas malaki yung weight niya kaysa sa Filipino. Okay? So that means siguro itong ang course na pinili nitong student ay may kinalaman sa science at technology. So mas mabigat yung weight sa science. So that's how it is. Now, how do we solve for the weighted mean? Now, we have to multiply the grade with the weight. Then, again, we have to add that to the other subjects. Like, for example, 86 times 0.9, as you can see. 85 times 1.5, so that is the second addend. Then 88 times 1.5, 87 times 1.8, 86 times 0.9, 83 times 1.2, and 87 times 1.2. And finally, ang i-divide nyo is hindi na yung number of scores, but the weights or the units. So, imbis na yung number of grades, supposed to be dapat 7 to, but since we have a weight, then we will be using that weight as our divisor. Okay, so after using your if you use your calculator, you can solve 86.1. So if you use your calculator, you can check that. You can double check that to be 86.1. Any question before we can have a sample practice of how a weighted mean works? None? Okay, so let us proceed with an example. Okay, so if you're through, you can raise your hands. may nag-chat ba? Try again, Mr. Peralta. Don't forget na yung i-divide ninyo ay, you need to divide pa. Mr. Round it off to 2 decimal places, De Ocampo. So the first person who answered correctly is, when we talk about grades, usually 2 decimal places yan. Okay? So if you are getting the mean of scores, so kailangan naka 2 decimal places yan. So the correct answer is Miss De Ocampo. Let me give you a point for that. Okay, so how do you solve 87.67? So you have to multiply the grade as well as the units plus the grade and units of other subjects. So after getting the sum of all the product of the grade and units, you have to get the sum of the units. So it's 1.5 plus 1.5, that must be 3, plus 1.8, 4.8, plus 9, 5.17, plus 1.5 ay 6.67. So you divide that dito sa numerator and the denominator and you get 87.67 if we're talking about grades. Most of the time, you always round all your answers to 2 decimal places unless na hindi siya pwede physically, hindi siya pwedeng kunin yung decimal. For example, number of workers. Minsan ang final na sagot ay 3.22. So you cannot divide a person, so that means you have to round it to a whole number. So pero if we're talking about scores, grades, currency, money, time, most of that will be should be divisible by 2 decimal places. Now, the weighted mean is almost the same as the Likert type question. So that's the reason why I introduced the weighted mean, because to solve for the Likert type question, ito yung mga ginagamit sa surveys. Ito yung mga usual na ginagamit ng mga researcher to find pag mga qualitative surveys. Meron kasing tinatawag na 2 surveys, the quantitative and the qualitative. When we say qualitative, like for example, yung choices nyo ay strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly agree, strongly disagree. So these are called Likert type statements. And usually, kapag gagawa ka ng Likert type statements, meron kang tinatawag na theme. They are grouped according to a theme. Sa bawat grupo, dapat iisa lang, magkakapare-pareha sila ng ibig sabihin. Pero nire-rephrase mo lang. Parang yung sagot doon will serve as your final answer for that question. For that question na nire-rephrase mo lang. Okay, let's have an example. For example, students' personal confidence in learning. So as you can see, ito yung parang theme mo, pero kung titingnan mo yung mga questions, halos pare-parehas lang yung kanyang tanong. Okay? The thing is, para kunwari, minsan kasi, pag hindi maintindihan ng bata yung isang question, baka mali siya doon sa pagkakaunawa niya, mali yung sagot niya. Tapos, that is the reason na iisa lang yung theme, iba-iba yung question, pero parang naka-rephrase lang. When we say rephrase, parang iba-ibang words lang yung ginamit, pero iisa lang talaga yung tinatanong nila. Okay? So, how do you solve this one? So, for example, meron tayong sinagot ng tatlong tao. There are 3 respondents and ang sagot nila dito sa paano ba to? Wait lang ha. Okay, so there are sabihin na natin ito yung respondent 1. So ito yung mga values na nakuha natin, ang response sa number 1. So siguro maraming nagsagot ng 5. So kaya naging 36. Okay, so let us try to find the interpretation of the liquor type statements here. So for number 1, ito yung nakuha natin, 36, 51, 18, 0, and 1. Okay, so how do we solve for how do we solve and interpret this liquor type question or statement? So these are the scores, these are the weights. Okay, again, these are the scores, these are the weights. So that means you multiply this, 36 times 5 plus 51 times 4 plus 18 times 3 plus 0 times 2 plus 1 times 1. And sa baba are the weights. So you add the weights and you will get your weighted mean. Ito yung tinatawag na weighted mean. Now, kapag nag-land, for example, ito yung weighted mean mo. Kapag yung weighted mean mo raw ay within this bounds, since 4.40 siya, sabi niya, 4.14, that means it is within this bounds, ibig sabihin, the respondents, the total number of respondents or yung pinaka result ng survey mo is agree yung mga tao with that statement. So they agree on that single statement. So in this case, now as you can see, dapat to make your liquor type question consistent, dapat yung mga sagot nila ay pare-pareho. So for each statement. Okay, dapat ang interpretation nila ay consistent na maging agree yan. So dapat, if you have another theme, dapat to have a consistent consistent survey, dapat yung sagot nila for that certain theme pare-parehas. Kung hindi pare-parehas, there may be a problem with your statement. Okay, so solving for number 2, you will get 3.65, which is under the agree siya, interpretation. And lastly, for the third set, you will solve for 3.86, which is still under the agree, which falls under agree. Okay? Now, it's your turn. Let's try to solve okay. Tingnan nga natin kung may example para sa inyo. Let me see. Okay, it's your turn. Now, below is the result of the responses to the following liquor type statements. Solve for the mean and give them the interpretation. Okay, siguro maganda para magkaroon kayo ng chance. Yung iba sa inyo sasagot ng 1, yung iba sa inyo sumagot ng 2. yung iba sa inyo, sumagot ng 3 para at least magkaroon kayo ng chance to for a recitation. Okay, again. So, paki-screenshot na nga lang itong gano'n muna, itong Likert type interpretation para later on, you can use this para sa inyong weighted mean na mako-compute. Sige nga. 1, 2, 3. Screenshot. Okay. Balik tayo. Okay, let's give chance to okay, Sornosa. Sornosa has answered number 1. So the correct answer for number 1 is 4.01. Nauna si Sornosa. So let me give you a point. How about number 2? So the correct answer for number 1 is 4.01, answered by Mr. Zornoza. Correct. I'm still waiting for number 2. Backwards. Ulit. So, ang gagawin nyo is this. So, you multiply the score and the weight. For example, 36 times 5 plus, 51 times 4 plus, 18 times 3 plus, 0 times 2 plus, 1 times 1 divided by etong weights. So, hindi itong nasa taas, itong weights, itong mga respondents. So, 36 plus 51 plus 18 plus 0 plus 1, and that would be your weights. Lang, parang mali yata yung mali yung number 1. Ulit. Tingnan nga natin ulit. Parang mali yata. Sige, magpasa ulit kayo sa number 1. Parang mali yung binigay ni Mr. Sornosa. Ang sagot niya ay 4.01. Parang mali. Can you please check that? You round it off to the nearest 2 decimal value. Nearest 2 decimal value. Let's give chance to others since Parisan has already answered earlier. How about other people? I would like to hear answers or recitation from other people. Sinosolve namin. Pabalik yung page. Sorry. Yan. Jobless, incorrect. Yan lang nga. Huwag kayong pag magka-calculate kayo, huwag niyong gawin, huwag kayong huwag ka agad kayo mag-round off ng hindi pa final answers. Mag-round off lang kayo sa final answers. Pero if, for example, you have to multiply and add the weights and the scores, huwag niyong kukunin yung rounded off number doon sa summation ng products and scores. Summation of the product of scores and weights. Huwag niyong gagawin yon. Kailangan lang kailan lang kayo round off kapag nasa final answer na, Kuya, ano yung sagot mo? Number 1, 2, or 3? Alam. Si Lomadilla pala na una. Lomadilla, anong sagot mo? 1, 2, or 3?
Number 1 po.
Number 1. Okay, so Lomadilla, correct? So the correct answer for number 1 is 4.02. So I need naman ulit for number 2 and 3. Yun na lang hinihintay ko. Again, for number 1, the correct answer is 4.02. Again, paalalahanan ko kayo, wag na wag kayong mag-round off sa hindi pa final answers. Incorrect, Miss Octaviana. Ay, talang. Octaviana, correct. Number 2. For number 2, the final answer is 4.01. 4.01, which is agree. Okay, how about number 3? How about number 3? How about number 3? Carpio, incorrect. Ito. Number 3 na tayo. Number 3, Orozco, incorrect. Carpio, number 3, incorrect. Santa Ana, incorrect. Kuya, incorrect. Number 3 na ba yung tinutukoy ninyo? O, incorrect. Sorry. Really incorrect. Engle, mali. It should be 5 5 times 1 mali. Dapat 5 times 34 plus 4 times 58. If you're talking about number 3, dapat 5 times 34 plus 4 times 58 plus 3 times 21 plus yon. Si Subito incorrect. Orozco incorrect. Yung ganun muna. Doon muna tayo mag-base sa weighted mean bago yung interpretation. Dapat correct yung weighted mean nyo bago kayo mag-interpret. Roscoe, nasa na tayo? Defante incorrect. Barreto incorrect. Bakit ganon? Ako nga magko-compute. Akasar ha? At wala makakuha. Okay, sige. Tingnan ko. Baka ako mali Wait lang. Verify ko lang. Wait lang. Wait lang po. 5 times 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, gagawin lang natin ay no? Mali pala ako. So, kanina pang, sino yung unang-unang nagsabi ng 4.12? 4.12. The correct answer for number 3 is 4.12. 4.12. Ang unang nakasagot ng tama ay si Kuya. So let me correct that. So the correct answer for number 4.12, and that should be...
Sir, sayang si Sir na una.
Sino yan?
Sir Robles po, sabi niyo number 3 incorrect nung unang-una.
Sino ka? Sino ka?
Robles po.
Robles. Saan ka ba?
Sir, number lang sinasagutan, nagsagot na number 3.
Tala, hinahanap kita kung kailan ka nagsagot. Tingnan mo nga kung anong oras mo sinend yung sagot mo.
Sir, 2:46.
2:46. Oo nga, no. Si ganun pala. So number 3, si Robles ang nakapagsagot. 2:47 sa akin na receive. So the correct answer is 4.12. Let me update that. Robles. Yon. Okay, so these are the answers. So if we look at the Likert type interpretation, so around 3.4 to 4.19. So lahat ng mga ito ay within the bounds of 3.4 to 4.19, which means the Likert type interpretation is agree. Okay? So now the properties of mean. So kailan ba usually ginagamit ang mean? Mean can be calculated for any set of numerical data. So it always exists. So most quantities or most values are ang ginagamit to solve for central tendency, I mean. A set of numerical data. The thing about k-mean ay there is only one answer or there is only one mean. Unlike si mode at saka si median, minsan meron siyang dalawang sagot. Lalo na kapag yung mga values ay may magkapare-pareho. Most of the time, mean is the most reliable. Okay, kaya if you are not really sure of what central measure you needed to use to be safe, use mean. Okay. Now, it is greatly affected by extreme or deviant values. Now, kapag merong mga values sa data mo na medyo nalalayo sa gitna or may mga tinatawag na isolated values nakakaapekto sa mean mo, and it is used only if the data are interval or ratio. I'm not familiar with the final statement. Anyway, we'll get back to that later. Now, when we say median, noted as MD, it is the middle value of the sample or of a group of data when the data are ranked in order according to the least value up to the highest value. So, for example, you have a set of values like this one. So you have to find the median, you have to rearrange them first from the smallest to the largest value. Pagkatapos mo silang ma-rearrange into the smallest and the largest, kung sino yung gitnang value would be your median. Kung sino yung gitnang value, that will serve as your median. So in this case, si 19 yung nasa gitna ng set of values. You can see, may tatlo ditong values, may tatlong values dito. Then this must be the median, yung gitna, which is 19. Now, paano kapag even yung values, even number yung values? For example, 8. Walang nasa gitna nun. So, what you needed to do is to find the mean between these two values. Ibig sabihin, makikita natin ang median sa gitna nitong 19 and 20. So, what we needed to do is to get the average or mean of that. So 20 plus 19 divided by 2, then it must be 19.5. So the median here is 19.5. Now, compute the median and interpret the result. Sige, can anyone? Number 1. In a survey of small business in Tondo, 10 bakeries, report the following numbers of employees. So what do you think is the median for number 1? What is the median in number 1? Katalang. May sumagot na ba? Okay, may ano yung tanong ni Miss Engle? Ano yung tanong mo kanina? Okay, let us solve. Wait lang, wait lang, wait lang. Bakit may sagot na 15.2? Okay, now one thing about the median pala, if a certain number is repeated, you have to list it once. Again, kapag meron tayong isang number na inulit, then that means we have to repeat the list the number only once. So for example, in this case, we have so 15, 14, 12, 19, 13. Since nalista na natin si 14, we don't need to write it again. So 15, 14, 12, 19, 13, 14. Hindi na natin ilista si 14, si 15. Nalista na natin. Hindi na natin siya ililista. 13 and 19 naulit. So alisin na lang natin yung mga naulit. Ulit. So finally, we have to rearrange them from small to the largest. Smallest to the largest. So as you can see, if you look at number 1, so so si Rile ang nakauna. So if you look at here, since add even number of values, that means sa gitna ni 14 and 15, yung inyong median. So that means ang median nyo ay 14 plus 15 divided by 2 or simply 14.5. Tama si Miss Rile. Oh, Rile? Oh, really? Let me update that, Miss Rile. Okay, how about number 2? So the random savings of second year high school, wala na palang second year high school. Basically, they are grade 8 high school students. Well, meron na silang savings. So nakatingin lang ako ngayon sa chat box para mas kung may sagot kayo sa chat box na lang kayo. So the answer is, tingnan ko nga. Okay, correct si Mr. Sornosa. So the correct answer is 475. Tingnan nga natin ulit. So using Excel, so I advise you to use Excel in solving problems with measures of central tendency. And actually, even our next lesson, maganda gumamit na kayo ng Excel. Because in statistic, you will be using Excel as well. And also in your liquor type question, gagamit kayo ng Google Sheet. After nyo makakuha ng mga respondents or values in your survey, madali na lang siya i-convert to Google Sheet, then solve for the liquor type interpretation. So let us again write down all the values: 340, 350, 450, 500, 360, 760, 800, and 740. Yung usually, ang salary, kapag sa salary, hindi mean ang ginagamit, kundi median. Kapag ang inyong research ay patungkol sa mga salary ng inyong mga respondents, usually ang measure of central tendency na pwedeng gamitin doon ay median. Kasi mas sinasalamin niya yung gitna if you use the median. Now in this case, let us again rearrange this to the smallest to the largest. So after that, so mapapansin natin, even na naman siya. So that means sa gitna ni 450 and 500. So if you add 450 and 500 divided by 2, and you will get 475, which means Mr. Sornosa is correct. So nakabawi si Mr. Sornosa. Oh, how about the last? The following are the lifetimes of 9 light bulbs. Tingnan ko nga. May sagot si Orozco. Kaya lang. I-recompute ko nga lang. Wait lang. So since merong magkapareha, tanggalin natin sila. Okay, so the correct answer is tama si Miss Orozco. Siya nakauna at 3:09 p.m. So since, let me show the answer. So there are some values that have been repeated. So kailangan natin siyang tanggalin. At kapag tinanggal na natin yung mga repeated values, we will come up na ang inyong median is between 1.1 and 1.2. So if you add the 2 divided by 2, then you will get 1.15. 1.15. So, okay. So, median is a scorer class wherein 50% the score fall below it. Median is not affected by extreme or deviant values. So, ito ang kagandahan kay median. Ito ang kagandahan kay median sa salary. Now, because the thing is, salary, ang problema kasi sa salary natin, it's either you are to, baka may values ka sa inyong respondents na they can be too poor or they can be too rich, di ba? there is a problem kasi sa ating, may tinatawag kasing wealth disproportion, lalo na sa ating bansa, di ba? Yung mahirap, masyadong mahirap, yung mayaman, masyadong mayaman. So there is there is an extreme or deviant values. Kaya most of the time, pag mga may kinalaman sa salary o kaya sa pera, median yung ginagamit because they are not affected by extreme or deviant values. Now, median can also be used when the data are ordinal. When we say ordinal, may kinalaman sa order. For example, first, second, third, fourth. Okay, yung data mo may kinalaman din sa arrangement ng inyong may kinalaman sa arrangement. Or for example, first, second, third, fourth, and so on and so forth. Okay, so mode. Finally, when we say mode, these are yung frequent values. Na kung kanina, mapapansin natin, there are values that appear twice or thrice. Kaya, in modes, meron din tinatawag na, ang mode, kinukuha natin yung mga values that are repeating. Dito, ang kaisipan ni mode, kapag nagre-repeat yung mga values, then that means it must be a value that is under central tendency. Ibig sabihin, dahil nga nagre-repeat siya, that means it is probably a center to all the values. Now, there is a possibility na magkaroon ng multimode values. Ibig sabihin, may parehas bilang ng maraming bilang ang isang value. For example, okay, sa number 1, 17, 18, 23, 20, and 19, meron ba magkaparehas dito? Wala. So that means, ang mode dito ay 0. Again, dito sa number 1, the mode here is 0. Bakit? Walang magkaparehas na values. Okay, now, we can also use descriptive evaluations para sa inyong mode. Now, for example, lumabas dito, very satisfied, satisfied, very satisfied, very satisfied, outstanding. Suppose may 5 respondents at ito yung sagot nila. Marami sa kanila ang sagot ay very satisfied. So if you use the central mode as your central tendency, then that means yung central measure or the descriptive the descriptive evaluation of that certain teacher mode-wise is VS or very satisfied. Kaya ang sagot dito ay VS or 3. Okay, so bibilangin ko natin kung ano yung number ng VS, which is 3. Kaya VS, ang answer sa number 2 ay 3. Understood? Kasi si VS ang repetitive ng 3. Bibilangin mo lang yung repetition. Okay, number 3. So, find the mode. Sino ditong values ang nagkapareho? Si 4.0, 3.5. So, in this case, parehas silang dalawa. So, the correct answer here is 2. The correct answer here is 2. Ay, tala. Sorry lang. Ulit, talang. Let me clarify. Ang pipiliin natin ay yung may pinakamaraming repetition. Pero in this case, parehas sila. Si 4.0 and 3.5. So, tala, magsusulat na lang ako para let's make this, let's clarify the answers here. Okay, so there you go. So C. Okay. Okay. Let's start. So, tingnan nga natin kung makakasulat ako. So, for the ages, for number 1, the correct answer here is 0. For number 2, the correct answer here is VS. So, pipiliin natin yung value na repetitive. Kung bakit 0 in number 1, wala kasing value na repetitive. Sa number 3, since ang dalawang values na magkaparehas ang dami, which is 4.0 and 3.5, so you have two answers for number 3. Yun yung tinatawag na multimode. Kung mas marami sana si 4, for example, yung pinakahuling sagot ay imbis na 1.0 ay imbis na 1.0, 4.0 yan, then the final answer is 4 lang kasi siya yung pinakamarami. Okay, now in this case, in number 4, let's again check. May kaparehas si 117. Si 120 may kaparehas din. So that means we still have two answers. So 117 and 120. Ulit. 120. 117 and 120. Okay? So let me clear that. Okay. So it is used when you for mode, it is used when you want to find the value which occurs most often. Ibig sabihin yung value na palagi nag-a-appear or nagre-repeat. It is a quick approximation of the average. It is an inspection average. Now this is the most unreliable of all the measures of tendency because it is undefined in some observation. Like katulad dun sa isang value, wala siyang sa number 1. If you look at number 1, wala siyang sagot. So in some cases, walang mode ang isang set of values. So it is most unreliable. But there are cases that you can use mode. So when can we use mode? In the real world. So okay. Mode can also be used to find the central tendency of a salary in some set of values. Kasi, kunwari, for example, in a certain barangay or in a certain city. So, kung sino yung mas marami doong salary na magkakapareho, usually, doon ka magbabase sa business mo. Okay? Because you want a larger share of the market. Kaya kung sino yung mas maraming nagre-repeat na salary o range ng salary, mas maganda doon ka mag-depende kaysa doon sa kaunti lang o kaunti ang repetition. So that is one use of mode in the real world. So let's have a final example of mode. So some final practice before I give you a group work which you should present tomorrow para at least meron na kayong idea on what to survey during your during 1 week after your vacation. So magsa-survey kayo in the doon sa week na natitira before our examination. I think that would be enough. And I'll be giving you sample performance tasks as soon as you have submitted kung ano yung mga gusto nyong i-research and develop sa inyong mga di ba nagpasa kayo in the first quarter ng inyong mga business. So, number 1, the following table shows the frequency of errors committed by typists per minute. So for number 1, what is the answer? What is the mode for number 1? Okay, so Carpio, 3, 7, and 8. 3, 7, and 8. So correct. So in this number, may tatlo. There are three answers for the mode. Carpio. How about number 2? So number 2 na tayo, guys. Oh, sorry. Okay, so number 2. How about the others? May point ka na, Octaviano. I won't be accepting your answer. Okay, sa Rigumba, it's 80 and 82. Tama ba? Parang mali. What should be the correct answer for number 2? 3? Mr. Fante, ano yung sinasagot mo? Anong number yan? Okay. Number 2 pa lang tayo. Number 2. Tingnan mabuti ang number 2. Tandaan nyo na ang mode, okay, sa Rigumba is correct. Pipiliin nyo lang yung pinakamarami. Ang karaniwan ng sagot ng iba, 80, 82 at saka 90. Pero if you look at the repetition, si 82 ang 3 beses na repeat. Si 80 and 90, 2 beses lang na repeat. So, kukunin mo yung pinakamaraming repetition, which is 82. So, sa Rigumba is correct. Yan. Okay, nagkakaunawaan. Let me write that down for you. So, sa number 1, 3, 8, and 3, 7, 8. 3, 7, and 8. 3, 7, and 8. Sa number 2 ay, ang sagot ay 82 lang. Kasi siya ay naulit na isang beses na. Number 3. 12 and 15. Sino una nakasagot? Tingnan ko nga. 12, 15, 15. 12, 15, 15. Okay, so The correct answer is Miss De Castro. 12 and 15. 12 and 15. Okay. So, sila lang dalawa. At since pareha silang ng bilang, they have, yan. Okay, now your assignment, okay, let me just stop the recording.